Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Bottom right hand corner, we got Kudos starting as the blue Zerg. Bottom left hand corner, we've got Semih starting as the green Protoss. Overlord making its way the correct direction for Kudos, which is a big benefit right off the bat. And I will say that Semih is the underdog in this situation. I'm definitely rooting for him. I always root for the underdog. That being said, I will not be upset if Kudos wins, because Kudos, very, very strong Zerg player. I feel like he gets a little bit underestimated. When people talk about top Zerg in North America, they oftentimes overlook Kudos, and I think that is incorrect. I think he's definitely one of those guys that whenever people are talking about top Zerg in North America, they need to be including Kudos in that grouping, like right off the top of their head. It could just be lack of exposure for a lot of this stuff. I would love to see Kudos play BSL, honestly. Absolutely love it. Oh, I wonder if he has the time to pull that off. Anyway, enjoy both these guys, but heart goes out to the underdog per usual. Also, I've roomed with Semih, so there's where my biases lie. I'll put it that way. Oops, knocked my mic. I've been in the same living quarters as Semih before and talked a lot of StarCraft with him. Looks like we have an overpool from Kudos, as long as we know where we're standing. Overlord will make its way out. This does give an opportunity. I think Semih saw the edge of the creep. He might try to... he saw the Overlord as well. Okay, looks like he's still going to make his way in. Did he go... Was he hoping for a forge? Wow, he's actually very delayed here. Okay, I'm wondering if... you would have thought, actually, he had learned the lesson from earlier. He got first shot off on this drone. Looks like he's might get a trailing shot. Another drone filling in. And is now going to have to... Oh, it took some serious damage. He's going to have to pull back. Kudos is going to see the close positioning, and I think Semih will be wise this time and not go for the Nexus first, and instead will invest in actuality. Pair of Zerglings queued up, by the way. Pair being 4 in this instance. Hopefully he will get the cannons down. Okay, 1 cannon down at least. But that cannon was dropped, and I think Kudos is on a good time. Okay, Radion is a larger map. It's a larger map, but these Zerglings are spawning very, very close to when that cannon was dropped. So they might be able to get, depending on where the probe positioning is, they might be able to get close to where they might get a few swacks on it. I think the cannon is going to finish. Okay, never mind. Looks like Kudos not going to bother this time. So we're not even going to be able to confirm whether that was the case or not. Kudos saw the cannon drop first, and he's like, okay, that's fine by me. Able to take out that probe at the 9 o'clock. Ooh, that's actually huge. So now Semih in the dark. He's went Forge first, which means that Zealot is going to be incredibly delayed. He needs to send out another probe immediately to get confirmation information. And the Zerglings are already starting to make their way towards the front. The Overlord, oftentimes you want that probe immediately out, because otherwise you end up with this scenario right here, where the Zerglings can get right on top of that probe and box it out. Great instinct on Kudos, by the way, to make the immediate beeline and get there in a hurry. So now Semih is completely boxed out of information. A lot of Zerg in this scenario will auto drop the Hydralistan, by the way, and go for 3-hatch Hydra. This is really what's dominated and shaped the meta, is the 973 Hydralis pressure in the early game and the lack or the difficulty of Protoss being able to blockade that and mitigate damage and not overcommit cannons. It can't be understated here. I think Kudos is, so he's investing in Zergling speed. It is possible. Yeah, there's the Hydralistan. And Overlord making its way across. The other problem is you can also go for the fake out, is you can effectively go for a usual layer timing and maybe posit a few things in front. Looks like a Zealot, by the way, getting cleaned up. Nice micro by Kudos. I didn't get to see the fight heads up, but didn't even lose a Zergling. 3 Zerglings are going to be able to sit back and regenerate. Kudos really microing this well and playing incredibly well. We do have the Stargate getting dropped at the natural expansion rather than the main. I think Semih trying to play a mind game right here. It's not going to matter to Kudos either direction, because he's already going Hydralis and committing. He's also got the speed upgrading. What this will do for Semih, though, is that it will allow the Corsair to potentially gain a few seconds, making its way towards Kudos base. However, The Hydralisks are going to be very, very rapid. It's really hard to defend this without the information on the plate of just knowing that it's Hydralisk. So you're gonna have that for on the Corsair, slightly late, not immensely late. 2 Zealots blockading right this second, and also the Zealot count is gonna be low. You're down a Zealot on top of everything else. So Hydralisk making the way across. Now the next question is how heavy a dedication of Hydralisks is this out of Kudos? Overlord rechecking the main, looks like it checked the natural expansion, checked the main, is making its way back. The Zealots going out to go ahead and engage these Zerglings and try to clear them out. Sees the first Hydralisk. So now Semih needs to buy himself some time to get some cannons down, because he's already got a number of Hydralisks on the front, and a few more are making the way, and it looks like that is a continuous build. Corsair trying to be frustrating. Probes being pulled immediately. Getting a good surround on these Hydralisks, actually. One Hydralisk down. Second one taking some damage, but the problem for Semih is I'm actually surprised he did as well with that as he did. This Forge certainly not going to finish. I think that might be game, though. I think Kudos, with just a lack of cannons, going to be able to stomp that cannon down. As long as his reinforcements making the way this direction. Looks like another cannon does finish. But this is a lot of delayed mining time. Kudos did lose an Overlord to the Corsairs. Nice job from Semih to create that action. Final Zealot is going to get pecked to death by the Hydralisk. Range is about to complete. And the Forge somehow still alive. Semih's done a fantastic job with these workers occupying these Hydralisks. However, I still feel like it might be too little too late. He's got 2 cannons, and now the rest of the Hydralisks are grouped up, but Semih has put Kudos in the red, which might be the one thing that keeps him alive. A full control group of Hydralisks are here. He's also not mining at his natural expansion right this second, which is not a good sign. And he might need even more cannons than this. As soon as additional Overlords are built, looks like we have some additional hatcheries being dropped. Kudos could finish this off. It looks like Semih, now that he's finally got these cannons in place, I am shocked he actually staved that off. The Hydralisk now rediving, picking off another cannon. The Zealot's trailing out a little bit too far. Semih pulling the probes, but just is going to end up losing probes too far out that time. Yeah, I was actually shocked that he was getting as much done at the distance he was getting, because usually you want those probes at arm's length, metaphorically, so that they're attacking the Hydralisks while the cannons are there and they're just blockading them back. Semih brought those probes when there were 5 Hydralisks and wrapped them around at a great measure away from that cannon line. Another full control group of Hydralisks making their way forward. We do have some dronage, a little bit of dronage behind this. Semih's behind in the supply count. Can't build additional cannons, is trying to redrop that Forge. Hydralisks, as they're grouping up, are taking a bit of free damage as they're scooting around. The probes are already piling, waiting for another assault, but this is where Kudos is doing a good job of baiting. He's got a large enough task force here that Semih just doesn't know what's going on. And you can see that's cutting into his mining time, which is just really crippling him otherwise. Now he's got 6 Zealots, and that plus the 4 cannons theoretically will hold, but now we've already got a number of hatcheries in place. We've got a 6 hatchery constructing, layer is up, spire's dropping. Interestingly enough, I think Kudos could, well, he might go for a tech switch into Mutalisks if he wants to. He could actually skip Spire, go straight Lurker, and get a hard contain without a lot of challenge behind this. He is getting that 3rd gas up as well. The Zealots starting to march their way out. So Kudos is going to have to draw back. Overlord went too deep as well. I think Kudos playing with a little bit of nerves here as well. And that's in Overlord. You can tell that from Overlord placement. Could be Kudos was thinking about going for the strike right there, and then drew back from that. And he's got caught actually in a drone cycle right this second. So it looks like the 8 Zealots with speed, they don't have +1 weapons, keep in mind, but are going to find some damage that they can get done here at the 3 o'clock, which is exactly what Semih needs to get back into this. Hydralisks now grouping up from behind, so 2 drones down, 1 Zealot left into that attack force. They're going to trail out to the north, but some good disrupted mining. Sunken Colony being invested in. I don't know if Kudos recognizes how far economically he is ahead, but it's worth, yeah, just dropping that Sunken in the midst of this. Corsair also remaining active, just creating a bit of havoc here and keeping Kudos on his feet. A little bit of an over-dedication of Hydralisks, but doesn't need to worry about it as much now that he's got that Sunken Colony up at the 3 o'clock. And Kudos actually ahead in supply right this second, which usually spells disaster. A Dark Templar is out on the map, but Kudos has transitioned successfully into some nice defense. He's built some Mutalisks as well, and he could go for, do we have a, okay, we have some High Templar. Sidestorm's not complete yet. The Corsair count is a little bit light, so enough Mutalisks could be a game-killing maneuver. But it looks like Kudos is mostly planning on using these Mutalisks to fend off the Zealots out on the field. Is this Overlord going to get spotted? We have Overlord speed, by the way, being constructed. Yeah, I think the Mutalisks are currently trying to hunt down those Zealots to soften them up and make them a non-factor. But there's a lot of base that Semih does not have protected right this second. I do believe he saw the Mutalisks as they're making the way across, and so did manage to get a second cannon down, and that with the 2 Corsairs should be sufficient to draw the Mutalisks back. But what that will not be sufficient to do is to defend anything up here to the north and pylon lines, and also that gas critically shut down. Ugh, careful. One Scourge does get picked off in the space of this, and Kudos doing the get further ahead when you're ahead play. The Mutalisks now finding the Zealots mid-map. We have Maelstrom developing in the background here for Semih. Wants to get a Dark Archon to try to equalize this a bit and negate the potential Mutalisk threat. The Overlord, okay, we do have an Overlord top right. It's slow moved all the way up here, by the way. But a DT is making their way, but Kudos in a really solid defensive formation now. He's got a lot of defense, a lot of hatcheries. He could go to Hive Tech if he wanted to. Doesn't really need to. He's got full map control. He's got more drones than I think he needs across all of these bases. Extremely well saturated, and Semih's still sitting on 2 bases and is just now getting his gateway flood. He's so far behind where he would want to be in the usual situation. Lurker aspect is just now getting researched, but again, yeah, a lot of this territory to the north until we have more Corsairs, which would have been a larger investment, or the Archon and Sidestorm. And the High Templar actually, High Templar's lucky it didn't get picked off there. Very, very lucky. Overlord speed complete, by the way, and it looks like the Corsair moving too far forward, so that's going to get picked off. That opens up a lot of possibilities for Kudos. So now Kudos, he can go for Lurker Contain. He can go for a just... he's got such a strong economy. He could just surge a lot of Mutalisks if he felt like it and just end the game that way. We do have a Dark Archon. That would be the one way Semih got back into this, is with the Maelstrom and a Sidestorm on a ball of Mutalisks. So I would be a little bit surprised if he went for that play. Sidestorm and Maelstrom will help him protect his front for a bit of time. If you can catch Lurkers before they burrow, that's a pretty good situation as well. +1 weapons complete, by the way, +2 weapons on the way. So Kudos is actually, for the moment, staying equalized or ahead in upgrades. He hasn't dropped a second evolution chamber. Mutalisks once again crawling in. We got a drop ship. We got a shuttle, not a drop ship. Not what it's called for this race. That is sneaking along that corner. Wants to try to find a pocket, and Semih doesn't have a lot of options here, but. And there's just a lot of... Kudos has done a fantastic job with vision. Look at the vision as well. He sees everything right this second. So, but as Semih moves forward, the Scourge have pushed out of position. There is an Overlord right this second, so that could open up the dropship somehow. Probe making its way to the 6 o'clock. It's going to get picked off. The northern base is getting cleared out. Semih might try to grab that, and I think Kudos might have been distracted enough with everything else happening on the map that he might have missed this single High Templar skirting. Never mind, able to skirt back. Here come the Mutalisks as well. High Templar needs to drop immediately if it's going to get anything done. A couple Scourge cleared out there, by the way. Shuttle is wiped out before it's able to get the drop off. A Probe has managed to move up, and Semih trying to get some damage done on the forward field. He's massively down in supply. He's going to need some miracle size storms, or he would need Kudos to... Okay, nice. That at least he's going to be able to take care of the Mutalisks here. Went very heavy Dragoon. He's actually got a pretty good... okay, +2 weapons is complete. I don't want to underestimate Semih here. He's got a pretty good composition, actually, for just going up against Lurker Hydralisk. And he's got a lot of Psystorm. So if he can actually Psystorm the Vegeta... And Kudos not just donating some units now. After those two exchanges, all of a sudden, Semih nearly up on supply. But the Hydralisks are getting picked off because Kudos just is driving, just crushing this army. And unfortunately, Semih is not tacked an additional base in the midst of this. So losing this standing army and not having a base up means he's not likely to get a third established, which puts him more or less all in. He has about an equivalent army, however. The problem is Kudos just has all sorts of hatcheries. All sorts of Hydralisks, just a massive army to field, and he can donate troops. Definitely playing nervous, as you can tell though, as he's moving Hydralisks across the field into that army on move command here and there. But Semih making a game of it, honestly, from a very, very behind position. 9 o'clock base attempting to get constructed, and Overlord has spotted that. And Hydralisks are fanning around. They're certainly going to be able to cut off reinforcements, nothing else. The High Templar also getting caught without Storm. They're a few seconds off having a Psystorm to work with. That's brutal. Honestly, I think just those two Psystorm pickoffs will probably be the nail in the coffin. Because now the Hydralisks are going to be able to concentrate fire down these Dragoons pretty effectively. Very likely going to be a dead Nexus in the midst of this. Kudos, he could just start streaming Zerglings across. If he wanted to. Still sitting on Lair Tech, by the way. Doesn't need to go to anything else right this second. 20 Hydralisks queued up. 2 more High Templar making the way out. Kudos can just slam into that again, and that should be cleared. However, if Semih can somehow get this third base up, it becomes an entirely new game. Protoss on occasion can operate like Terran that way. Cannon not going to be allowed to come to completion. 2 Psystorms have now been expended. Good dodges from Kudos there. Great Maelstrom to eliminate some from the fight. The reinforcements getting cut off, however, and there's GG. Semih recognizing he wasn't going to be able to hold that third. Well played from Kudos. He's now going to go up. So, by the way, because Kudos won the upper bracket final, he's starts off 1 win. So now he's up 2-0 over Semih in this best of 7. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.